Hey guys, I'm just doing my part 4, I guess, to how I found out this guy was hiding my comments, my posts on Facebook, which led me to finding out that he was behind the group admins as well, and on behind the mods on Saskatoon Reddit, like the subreddit, which I do have suspicions he's behind many other local Facebook group pages as well as other subreddits on Reddit. So I was just ending off the last video where I commented my post got denied instantly, and this guy gave away that it was him. And if anybody's wondering how do you know it was him, which some people like to stupidly ask, we all know the bigotry, the racism, the misandry, the misogynistic bullshit that's on Reddit. The disrespectful, derogatory bullshit that's on Reddit. And I've made tons of posts on comments on that particular subreddit, especially worse ones, and I never got my comments once declined. Ever. And the second I out and I say that, I give away that that's probably a fake account. Not only that, he just confirmed to me that I was right about that ad. If I wasn't right, there would have been no need for that post to be declined. And also another thing is I had a few dummy accounts because I knew he was following me on Reddit as well. And I had one going on a bunch of different threads that he was following. And then I was on a different one that was my personalized one that he wasn't following. And then I had a different one. And I purposely commented from the different one because I didn't want him knowing it was me. I wasn't sure. He probably would have knew it was me by the way I pointed it out. But I purposely worded it different so I sound like somebody else, and just to see what he'd say. And either he knew it was me or he really did think I was somebody else, and he declined the post because he knew I was skimming through there, and he was probably trying to bait me. I don't know. I don't think it's just me. I think it's other people too. Like I said, he purposely preys on people looking for stuff, people that are desperate, people that are needing help. He purposely, and not to steal their stuff, obviously not their finances if they're looking for things. He just does it to take over their accounts. But what I'm thinking is it could have been a bait post for just somebody else, and he knew it was me, and he didn't want me outing it. But, he took a huge risk just outing himself, and that's why I think he thinks that I was somebody else that commented on that. Because he knows I wasn't taking Facebook seriously, and I announced that. I said, I'm not ever going to take Facebook, any ad or anything on there seriously, probably ever again. And he knows I was on Reddit, so, that wasn't the only weird post that I've noticed before that I think might have been directed towards me or for me or other people. But, the reason why I think it was for me was because he didn't have a problem trying to fool people on Facebook and try and hack them through there. If he didn't have problems doing that and he was just after other people, he would have just stayed on Facebook and continued to do what he was doing, But instead, he shifted over to Reddit because he knew I was scrolling through it. And, that's another thing that I say. It's how does he not think that I'm going to clue into this stuff? That, even if I have some sort of suspicion, whether or not I think it's this guy or I think it's a scammer, how does he not think that I'm going to have this awareness? Not because of him, but just in general. I've always been aware of just people online and scammers, and on top of it, my ex is a tech freak, he introduced me to all of this stuff. He showed me how scary it is and what the kinds of things that these people can do. He's the one who showed me, or who taught me what a rootkit was. That's how I know about it. I watched him get hacked twice when we were together. I watched him 2 attacks, and it was insane, the things that I saw. The hacker was literally moving his mouse around, and I remember watching my ex freak out, and the first time in my life, I'd never seen him scared to do with technology. He was so good with it. It was second nature to him. It came so easy to him. But this one attack that he had, because he even said, I shouldn't be on this website. I forget what we were doing, but he said I don't want to say it. everybody might know what it is, but it's a website that you can get a lot of, if you post or something, yeah, you can get the wrong person after you just by accident. It's almost kind of like baiting yourself out in a way. Like if you go on the dark web and, you know, like you risk giving out your IP address, right? Not just to the website and what, to bad people, right? That's why it's a big risk going on the dark web. You risk yourself. But anyways, after my post was declined, like I said, it was about a minute, and that's when I was like, is he really on the mods too? Like, really? And that's why I say he always ups his game, right? Because like before I knew he was stalking me, all the stuff that he was doing, yeah, I would use the Facebook group pages. I would go on. I would inquire about things. I would conversate with people. But after I found out, and he knew he couldn't just, you know, hack me through the way that he used to by pretending to be friends and family. I wasn't falling for that. I also wasn't falling for random people on local Facebook group pages, you know, even though he would point out. I remember when I was trying to like say this account is fake, these accounts are fake, your posts are fake, when I was trolling him on those group pages. And I remember him trying to be like, hey, look at my page. No, would my mom be commenting on my photo? Look, I have all these pictures. And like, just the more he said it, the more he made himself look even more fake, because I know very well that like how many people he's hacked around me, and like how many other people he hacked around them. You know, I remember when I first went off about this, and I remember I was like, it was almost like it was so fast the way I was trying to explain it, and I knew what was going on, but I didn't know how to explain it, and I wasn't 100% sure. And since I know this guy has to hack people's mutuals, people's acquaintances, in order to fool them and get them to click a link or click a photo or hack them however he does, because doing it behind stranger accounts doesn't work anymore, I know very well that those profiles on there weren't real. And I think because he thought that I was in a different location, I was on a different group page that I wasn't usually on, that I was going to go on there and think that he wasn't on there or he wasn't anywhere to be found. Yeah, I know very well he was there. I went in there knowing that he had a bunch of fake accounts. I just didn't know he was the group admin or that he could hide the comments. I had no idea. And then I found out by accident. But like these accounts that I talk about, you know, when I first found out about this, I was telling people, this guy has Facebook families made. You know, I sounded crazy. And, you know, once I broke it down, no, it's not that he has Facebook families made. It's just he has so many people hacked that, like, you know, he's had to hack people's family as well. So like at the beginning, people just thought that I was saying that this guy was creating new accounts with posts going back years with their families, and that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying this guy purposely took over these accounts for a reason, to make you think they're real people, there's posts and there's comments and all this, and you can refer to it and say, oh, that must be a real person. But if somebody hacks and takes over an account on Facebook that's been running 15 years, a TikTok account that's been running 5 years, a Snapchat account that's been up since it opened, how are you supposed to know that it's the actual person on the other side unless you don't call them or you don't FaceTime them? And I know it's not common, but that's my whole freaking point of this, is you're not going to know who's on the other side of those accounts unless you check and you inquire and you make sure that's the right person on the other side. And besides Facebook, there's a lot more stuff that I can talk about. I really trolled this guy. And even though I knew he was hiding my comments, I purposely started calling him an old fart because he hates that. When I first got mad at this guy and he started calling me the most derogatory names, I whipped that out and I watched him just go from this to this, just hit the fan. He lost his mind. So it was funny thinking about him purposely hiding my comments, only him reading my old fart comments, because he was getting mad. He was trying to say, oh, that's not funny, and trying to get me to stop. It was hilarious. I think I was laughing so hard, I was crying. I'm just giving him a bit of his own medicine.